Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another Devil May Cry Peak of Combat video, and boy, what a video we have today. Unpacking Freezing Tempest Dante, the newly released hunter, and man, in the short amount of time I've had to experience this hunter, I can straight up say that he almost seems like he might be the best character in the current game. They just made him so insanely strong. I've had a brief peek at some of his rank passives and some of his weapon passives. I haven't really done a deep dive into it yet like we're going to in this video, but based on what I've used of him, even at base S rank, his ultimate attack is so strong for being a base S rank, and I can only imagine that as you move up the ranking with him towards max rank, I'm sure his ultimate's gonna get way stronger, which is crazy to me because it's already insanely strong, so I can only imagine how much stronger it's gonna get. But with that being said, let's do a deep dive in on him like I promised. We're gonna check out his passives, figure out what he can do on paper, and then we're gonna check out his weapon, see what that does on paper, and yeah, I have some really high hopes for this guy because from what I've used so far, he is absurdly powerful with his ultimate. So right now, I managed to get him to S+. Don't really know how far I'm gonna take him. Just because, as discussed several times in previous videos, this game's just extremely expensive. It's really unfortunate, and I've had this discussion with a few people over the course of time, but it's really a shame that most of the player base will never get to experience the full potential of most of the hunters in this game, just because there's such a steep paywall that you have to throw money at to just, get the full potential of a character in this game. And honestly, the truth is that's why I haven't done a tier list of hunters or anything like that, because there's just so many variables involved. There's what rank do you have the hunters at? You can't fairly compare a hunter that's at S rank versus someone who's at EX, and then you have awakenings beyond EX, and then you have different kinds of content that require different kinds of team setups and compositions and favor different types of gameplay, like speed over power, power over speed, etc. Right? So for me, I stay away from tier lists because, in my opinion, every hunter in this game serves a purpose. There are obviously better hunters than others. So I mean, I could, I guess, do like a broad tier list, but even so, I wouldn't even trust my own information on that because I don't have every hunter maxed in this game, so I can't really fairly make assessments like that. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, let's dive into him. I got him at S+ at the moment. I'm just gonna go through because I haven't even really had a deeper look into him myself. So I got him to level 100. His stats look, familiar to many other hunters. I did get his exclusive weapon, just one copy so far. For cards, we have Minotaur cards, so it's really interesting. That's the only weird thing I find about this hunter is he's advertised as like an ice unit, but his ultimate, which is basically his crutch move, is electric. So you generally want to have Minotaur cards on him because of the 4-card boost. Electric damage of ultimate skills by 80%, which is huge, and he already does huge damage with his ultimate, so it just makes it even more absurd. One thing, actually, I just want to show you guys something real quick. One thing I did notice too, which is kind of weird, is, oh, I guess it just reset. One thing that I found really weird too is when you try to take him into content and with support hunters. So even though he's labeled as, here he's labeled as ice and lightning, the game only sees him as ice basically as his main. And when you go into lineup and you go into electric, you can see he doesn't get buffed from the electric support units, which is kind of unfortunate. Instead he gets buffed by ice. So he does get a healthy boost from the ice team, but it's just kind of weird. Like, his ultimate is his best move and probably the only move people are going to be spamming, and it's all electric. So for him to be like an ice unit is just kind of weird, but it almost doesn't matter because they just made him do such crazy damage that who really gives a shit what he is? If he's able to kill bosses and content in like seconds, then does it matter? Not really. So just gonna go back here and continue our breakdown. So yeah, and then obviously I got all his skills maxed out already, but I wanted to take a look at his skins because for some reason they did not oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, I don't really like this design personally, but it's like an opposite of what's his name, Mirage Slayer's bonus outfit. But it's kind of weird because this time they didn't do a chain purchase event where if you spend a certain amount of money for 14 days straight, you get a copy of him, but you also, at the 14th day, you also get a special skin. So I'm not really sure where you even get this skin from, because I don't think it's in... There's no... Yeah, there's no chain purchase for him this time around, which is really weird. So I don't even know where you would get that skin from, because when we go here, you only get this skin, which is his secondary skin. So I don't even know where you would get that third skin from. It's like, did they just forget to do the chain purchase or something? It's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of selective with those extra skins. I'm not really fond of his default skin. It looks a little goofy in my opinion. But I mean, this one, well, let me see. Yeah, I don't know. This one's probably better, I guess, but this one, I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't really like the design of this. But yeah, well, it doesn't matter because I guess there's no way to even acquire it right now. So, yeah, so that's his skins. Alright, so let's go into his passives and see what he can do on paper. I kind of have an idea because of what I played with him so far, but like every other video, let's just start back at B and let's just start figuring out what he's capable of. So when you acquire him, you're going to start at S, but let's just go back to B and see what he can do. So show of force at B rank, increase the shield breaking efficiency of combo A and combo B by 10% and the last strike of combo A by 20%. Okay, so they've given him some shield breaking bonuses, which is good. That probably only applies to like the red shields, not the hit shields. Yeah, because when I was playing with him in Bloody Palace, I was having, because of his aerial attack, it hits enemies a lot, but you probably have to repeat it a few times to break hit shields. His style skill is way better for it, but it takes a little bit of time to pull down aerial enemies. If you've watched, I'll probably upload my Bloody Palace solo run with him soon, and you'll kind of see what I mean by that. But still, that's okay. Rank A, power. Gain a stack of power after hitting a target with the 3-part staff, increasing the damage of ultimate skill. I knew it. So, so you want to hit them with his staff, with basic attacks or whatever, to build up... Sorry, guys. To build up a buff, which will increase damage of his ultimate skill, Ruler's Smite, by 5%, which can stack up to 10 times and is removed after the activation of ultimate. So that's just a straight buff to his ultimate attack when you pull it off, and his ultimate at S rank is already absurdly strong, so the fact that this is probably going to get buffed higher and higher throughout the ranks is crazy already. At S rank, Dynasty, gain a massive damage reduction when activating style skill. So Ice Age, and hitting a target with Ice Age drops green orbs. Cooldown. Okay, yeah, so this is something I noticed. Let me just finish this. After activation, increase ice damage by 15% for the next 15 seconds. Okay, so that's kind of cool. This is something I kind of liked about him too. He kind of feels like can do everything, like a jack of all trades type of hunter. At base S rank, he's a little bit squishy, but yeah, you can heal yourself. So when you pull off his style skill, it groups enemies in, it does huge damage, it can freeze them, and it'll drop a bunch of healing orbs that you can heal from. So that's pretty cool. So he's self-sufficient in the way of healing. He can pull enemies in, he can freeze enemies, and he can do massive damage with his ultra. So we've got quite a few good check marks. The only downside to his style skill is he gains a super armor, so you can't be budged out of it even if you're hit, but you still take damage. There's no iframes or invincibility frames during that animation. So for content like Bloody Palace, where you want to focus on not being hit, not the best options. It's just kind of, we're kind of existing in a weird meta where I think at this point hunters like LS have probably been outshined by hunters like GS and now FT or Freezing Tempest, but LS still shines in certain areas because of the way he defies certain mechanics of the game. So LS, for example, when he does his Deep Stinger, he's completely invincible. He has all iframes while doing that. He pulls in enemies. He can move around and pull in enemies around the map, and he does massive damage. So those three elements combined make him extremely good in that specific type of content where not getting hit is a big deal in Bloody Palace. But in content like this for characters like GS or Freezing Tempest, I mean, if you max rank them and they can just one-shot everything, then problem solved. You don't need all that other shit when you're just one-shotting everything, right? But that's not always the case, especially when you got to deal with waves of enemies, or you got to build up ultimate or MP to do your ultimate again. Having those iframes is nice, and not all characters have it, and I find that these characters who are huge nukes and can do a ton of damage like GS and FT, they tend to be lacking those invincibility frames that during animations that LS had that makes that aspect of him so great. But on a damage end, FT and GS are just, they're getting pretty absurd on how much damage they can dish out once they near max rank. So with all that being said, yeah, it's kind of cool. I kind of like how FT is a bit self-sufficient. He's a massive damage dealer, but he can also do support, and he can also buff. So he's almost like a trifecta. Like, he can do a bit of everything, which is kind of cool. He's self-sufficient. He can heal himself. He can group in enemies. He can do AoE damage, and he could do massive, massive damage with his ultimate. So he almost fits those three perfect areas you kind of want in a hunter. Just lacking those invincibility frames. That's it. Moving on to S+. Furious, style skill, Ice Age, can spread blizzard and inflict damage to targets in range and apply a 10% ice pen for the next 15 seconds. So that's actually really good. His style skill is really good. It's pretty big AoE, and the fact that it can now spread blizzard and inflict damage to targets in a wider range and inflict ice pen is pretty good. Moving on to SS, it almost seems like the trend for most hunters that at SS is where you kind of benefit the most off most hunters. With SS, you get Smite. When activating ultimate skill, Ruler Smite, unleash lightning and apply stasis on targets, lowering targets' defense by 2%, which can stack up to 10 times for the next 15 seconds. So yeah, just like I said, SS is basically where you want to land with this guy. If you don't plan on maxing him out, at least try to get him to SS. That seems to be the trend with most hunters. You get the most benefit out of it. But yeah, this is probably where you want to land with him, because his ultimate is still extremely strong, but getting him to SS is going to allow his ultimate to produce those lightning bolts that strike down in an area of effect, and that is some massive damage and then also you're lowering the target's defense by 2%, which stacks up to 10 times for the next 15 seconds. So big damage, nothing but damage on this kind of buff, and it evolves your ultimate into something way different. So this is probably where you want to sit if you can't take them to max. SS Plus, power again, gain a stack of power after hitting a target with 3-part staff, increase in damage, ultimate skill, ruler smite by, so now we've gone from 5 to 10%, which can stack up to 10 times. So we're already at 100%. Look at that, dude. Like, his ultimate is so strong already. The fact that it's gonna buff it by 100% after only 10 hits, and in my previous videos with him already, my first impressions and my story playthrough, you could see that his second combo where he spins the nunchucks several times, you're basically hitting them. What's it say here? Gain a stack of power after hitting a target with 3-part staff, increasing the damage. Yeah, you're going to hit him 10 times easily by doing that, and then you're going to hit him a bunch of times with his style skill. You're going to have this stack built up every time between the ultimates, almost guaranteed. So that's huge. 100% damage on an ultimate that's already absurdly strong, even at a base level. That's crazy damage right there already. Effectively doubling that damage. SSS rank. Destiny. Gain a stack of Sovereign. After activating ultimate skill, Ruler Smite, increasing crit damage by 8%, which can stack up to 10 times and last for 20 seconds. Holy shit. That's a lot of crit damage. So far this guy has nothing but damage on his ultimates. That's crazy. So not only you're getting huge raw damage percentage buffs, but then you're also getting insane crit damage buffs to his ultimate. Everything crutches on his ultimate, but goddamn, it looks like it packs a punch. This happens to me every video. Oh my god. But yeah, man, that's wild. He is looking very strong on paper. And I don't even want to say on paper, because from what I've experienced him so far, I have him at S+. Most of my gameplay has been him at S, and he was already absolutely destroying with his ultimate. So I know already seeing all these buffs to his ultimate is going to be crazy. SSS Plus. Oh, here we go again with power. So we're moving now to 15%, which can stack up to 10 times. That's 150%. Holy, on his ultimate, plus that crit damage we just talked about. And then EX, chosen. Increase the damage of ultimate skill by 20%. Okay, what? By 20%, and the last strike is guaranteed crit upon activation. Increase all yo. This guy is broken. Oh my god, his EX is broken. Increase all skill damage by 2%, which can stack up to 10 times. So they basically just took this power and absolutely made it broken. So, okay, so understand this. They're saying that instead of 15%, it's now 20%. So and it can stack up to 10 times. So now we're looking at his ultimate doing 200% damage, more damage. We're looking at the crit damage, the crit stack damage. And now, once you get him to EX, that crit damage is guaranteed because you're guaranteed a crit upon activation of his ultimate. And you get to increase his skill damage by 2%, which all stacks up to 10 times. So you don't have to build crit chance on this character. You literally just dump crit damage into him with all your cards and buff up his crit damage as high as possible. And this guy is going to murder everything. That is crazy. You're guaranteed a crit with EX, so you don't have to invest in crit chance. You just have to invest in crit damage. You get the crit damage buff from SS, and then you get a 200% increase to his ultimate, and then you're guaranteed a crit hit on that, plus all the other crit damage you have. This dude's gonna melt everything. Like, I don't even know who's king of this game anymore. Like, I almost want to say he is, just from reading that, because his ultimate at a base level is so strong already. I can't even think about how much damage he's going to do with 200%, a guaranteed crit, and a shit ton of crit damage built onto him. That is absurd. And it's like, what's the point of a character having invincibility frames, ability to group in enemies, and all this other crazy shit when his ultimate is this strong that he's just going to nuke everything? Like, what's the point of having a well-rounded hunter when one move is just going to erase everything? That's crazy. So, wow. EX, I did not expect EX to be that crazy. Jeez. So I almost want to say SS is where you want to land if you can't take him to max, and if you can take him all the way up, EX is where you want to be. Because this right here is just absurd. It changes everything about the character, giving you a guaranteed crit on activation. That means you just stack up crit damage, and then yeah, he's gonna be a monster on his ultimate. And get this, I had a little bit of a peek at his exclusive weapon. Even more broken. This dude's just gonna be throwing out ultimates left and right. Like, it's just gonna be stupid. I'm gonna go to the vault because I gotta move around so I don't get kicked again. Okay, let's go to the weapon, because now the weapon just takes things to a different level, because we just read through all his passives and what he can do. Check this out. So when you get his weapon to 1 star, it's not only going to increase his overall damage by 20%, but it increases the MP regen of Freezing Tempest by 10%. Each time ultimate skill hits a target, gain 20 MP. So his own ultimate skill is also rebuilding his MP gauge. So then by the time you're done your ultimate skill, you probably just pop your style skill once, and you're going to hit enemies enough times to build up all those buffs we just talked about, and then you're probably going to be able to pulp your ultimate just over and over and over again, doing this combo, his style skill into ult, style skill into ult. He's going to absolutely melt people at this rate, regaining MP, and he already regains MP really fast. Like, I don't even have any, I only have this, I only have the 10% each ultimate skill, and I can get his MP to max with one combo plus his style skill. I'm already at max. So imagine getting him to level 2 and then putting MPR cards on him where he has MP regen and crit damage buffs. This guy's gonna be broken. Oh no, not gonna. He is already. And then his 2-star, while Freezing Tempest activates ultimate skill, so everything revolves around his ultimate skill. Inflict lightning damage to all targets in stage. These attacks ignore 15% of the target's defense. That's probably going to double, or sorry, I can just go to max here. Yeah, 30%. So again, huge damage, and it's doing lightning damage. So when you combine that with the Minotaur card, four card set, that's what? That's 90. That's 110%. Or no, sorry, I read that wrong. Ruler Smite, inflict lightning damage to all targets in the stage. While Freezing Tempest activates ultimate skill, Ruler Smite inflicts lightning damage to all targets in the stage. So now, getting this weapon to level to 3-star, you're now doing damage to every enemy on the stage. So now he's inherited similar to, like, oh my god, this guy is cheap. So he's very similar to OMS now in how he can basically do a full screen ultimate to every enemy on the stage and do damage. Oh my god. And he ignores 30% of the target's defense. Like, is this guy not broken enough at this point? And then the last, oh my, and then his 4-star, after Freezing Tempest activates ultimate skill, Ruler Smite, Freezing Tempest becomes surrounded by lightning orbs, continuously inflict damage to targets in range, and apply stasis. When lightning orbs are active, gain an increase in tenacity and damage reduction. So I think I experienced this in his Hunter tutorial, not the tutorial, but the trial when you're in the vault or whatever. But yeah, so when you do your ultimate, not only now are you hitting all the enemies on the stage, you're doing a absurd amount of damage with his ultimate, and you now get orbs that surround you, so enemies that try to hit you are probably going to get hit or stunned, lessening the likelihood of you being hit, unless it's by characters like Demon, Chorus, and or Choir and stuff like that. But who knows, because maybe they're just getting melted and they can't even attack you because of how his ultimate effectively hits every enemy on the screen, or on the map, they said, on the stage. So that's actually the first time I've seen that writing, because even OMS's, even though his ultimate has a really large range, it is still limited, whereas this literally states to all targets in stage. So it doesn't even matter how far they are or where they are on the stage, it looks like it's going to hit them. So that's crazy. That is crazy. This guy is probably going to be the most broken, busted, strongest hunter in the current game if you're able to 4-star his exclusive weapon and get him to EX rank, and then awaken him even further than that. They just gave this guy crazy amounts of strength. The only downside is if you like a hunter, I'm just gonna play with him a little bit. If you like a hunter that has a wide moveset, he's probably not what you're looking for. He's not as boring as Mirage Slayer, for example, but he really doesn't do too much. Like, really, you just have his basic nunchuck combo. Oh, sorry. My controller's messing up. Okay, so he just has his basic, nunchuck combo, basic attack. He has one where you hold it down, and then he has the delayed one. And then he has his style skill, and then he has his aerial attack, and that's essentially all this character has to him. But like I said, you don't really need to do much more, because after what we just went through, all you're pretty much going to be doing is ultimate, style skill, ultimate, style skill. If you plan to keep him at SS, you'll probably end up doing this combo where you'll probably end up doing this combo to build up MP quick into his style skill, and then into his ultimate, and then you just rinse and repeat that. But I can't get over how crazy they made this hunter. We thought GS was good, and I'd say he was. Okay, so the brutal truth, guys, is I didn't make a GS review video because I was just so conflicted. I didn't know if GS was truly better than LS, because in my time playing with them, they both excelled at different types of things. GS had a shit ton of power behind him, but LS just had certain mechanics like those invincibility frames and ability to be mobile while pulling enemies in, and the doppelganger and stuff. I almost seen them on equal footing, so that's why it was really hard for me to just come up with that video. I didn't want to make judgment and then give you guys incorrect direction. But with this hunter, based on some things I've seen, based on what I've experienced so far with him, and based on what we just read for his exclusive weapon and his ranks, I honestly believe he is probably going to become the best and the strongest hunter in the current game. It just seems so absurd. His ultimate just does so much damage, and even at a base rank, it does so much damage. And the fact that almost every one of his rank increases and his exclusive weapons buff his ultimate even more, which is more and more and more. This guy's gonna be broken. And he's a dual element. Like, I know I was kind of hating on that at first because it was a bit awkward, but it's kind of nice to see that units are starting to become hybrid, where they're not just tied to one element. Even though this one kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, he should have been electric first, ice second, but the fact that he's ice first, but then his crutch is his ultimate and it happens to be electric is just kind of weird. But aside from that, who gives a shit? Because if you pump enough damage into a hunter and they can melt everything in seconds, then who gives a fuck, right? So, it's a little boring. I kind of hope the game doesn't go that direction, which it seems like they are, because it's just going to end up boiling down to what every game does is it doesn't matter what a hunter does as long as he's stronger, he's the best, right? And it's just kind of boring. But yeah, there you guys have it, man. I think that this guy is going to be the best in the game. Again, take everything I say with a bit of grain of salt. I'm not able to test out every hunter fully at their max capability. So the things that I say are just mostly speculation based off what we read and what we kind of put together in our heads. But I think this guy's going to be the one for now. He is crazy. His ultimate is crazy. And based on his MP regen, from what I've seen so far, yeah, you're basically just going to be popping ultras like crazy. And his ultras are going to be strong as a motherfucker. And he's probably the strongest unit in current game. Alright, guys. I've got some more content. Every time a new hunter comes out, you know me, I'm always running content with the new hunter just to try to give you guys examples of what he can do in different types of content. It just kind of sucks because I don't really know yet if I'm going to max out this hunter. I really should, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't really agree with how, pricey this game is and how really only a very, very small percentage of the community can experience the full potential of this game by throwing money at it and its hunters. So it's a little frustrating, and I'm just trying to give you guys the best information I can with what I have. Don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. But yeah, I'd say out of all the hunters in this game, if you have the resources to do so, I would max him out and max out his exclusive weapon. He seems absurdly good. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that. And yeah, I'll be uploading some more content with Freezing Tempest Dante, just running all different kinds of content. All right, guys. Good luck with your pulls on his weapon and ranking him up, and I will catch you guys in the next video.